Welcome to E360 TV, the live streaming and on-demand destination for influential voices and enlightened audiences. We offer trending, grassroots, and purpose-driven content across a diverse range of interests. E360 TV is more than just watching programs. We offer the ability to interact with live shows connecting audiences to real, authentic influencers and storytellers while streaming to millions of devices. Real experiences. Raw conversations. One destination for it all. E360 TV.
On July 4th, 1962, I found myself in the lost and found of mankind. Just because something finds its way to the lost and found doesn't mean that it wants to be there. Just because something finds its way to the lost and found doesn't mean that the person who lost it doesn't care for that lost item.
You are writing moments that people will learn from, grow from, and heal through for thousands of years. Together, we are co-authoring a unique moment in time. That DNA, those fingerprints, they're going to be gone. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. But it is your story that they will tell for thousands of years. But only if you leave it. Things that do not serve you must go. The longer you wait, the more time you give them to trick you into serving them. 22 homes in foster care, everything I wore as a scar, as a shame, things that started like Velcro on my spirit. After just a few months, then years, then decades, I had believed myself into believing that they were indelible tattoos. Sometimes we have to be broken down to appreciate the view once we start getting up. I want you to leave this place and know that you have been changed. Why? How do I know it's true? Because each of you has just changed.
You can navigate the legal and emotional journey of divorce and exit a marriage the way you entered it, with mindfulness, love, and respect. Solace Divorce Mediation is a full-service law practice helping couples focus on the health and well-being of children and their forever co-parenting family. Our streamlined divorce journey offers flat fees with an estimated completion time frame of 2 to 4 months. If you or a friend need us, visit solacedivorce.com.
Need I spell it out before you get it, baby? my state of mind. But you walk right past me, pretending like you don't see what's yours for the taking tonight.
Yeah. Look at Mike TV back there on top of the TV from Willy Wonka. I was telling him I had some house guests this weekend. You guys, welcome to today's installment of Bathrobe Moments. I'm Speed. ADHD is running rampant. ADHD is in here today. I'm on one. It's Monday. I'm full of it too. Wait a minute. That didn't come out right. I'm full of it. Okay, whatever. Anyway, Mike TV. Am I coming in clear? So anyway, yes, I am excited to be here today. It's another wonderful day in the neighborhood. I'm so excited. Why? Because here we are. That's right. I don't care if it was just me and you. Just the two of us. We are together fulfilling one of the greatest opportunities that the universe promises. It guarantees us that when two or more of us, we come together and we've got a spirit of, we just want to be of service to the world in any way we can. When we do that, the spigots get turned on and spiritual abundance just flows out. Can I get an amen? That's right. That's right. Good morning. Well, I'll kick it off. I'll get my own amen. There you go. And good morning to all you beautiful people. Welcome again to today's installment, Bathrobe Moments. I'm your host, Lauren Michaels Harris. And today, welcome my sidekick of 7 years. Love me some Lucy McGillicuddy Ricardo in the house. And so is the Bell of Purpose. It's here every day. Not a show gimmick, but my idea of a reminder that the truth, just like that bell, it's got a ring to it. So when you are watching, you've been doing flat iron and making some oatmeal, whatever you're doing, I don't want you to miss some truth. And I got a reason to believe I'm going to ring that bell quite a bit during today's episode, because this guy, Coach Matthew, you guys, I'm pretty transparent, and I'm 61 and I didn't wake up until 50. As far as understanding the connection of all the lanes of what make up this person that sits before you, spiritual, physical, mental, on and on and on. And mindset had a lot to do with changing everything else that was kind of off, just didn't match, or where they weren't at the levels I wanted them to be, especially so my physical well-being. And so Coach Matthew, I met him when someone threw a bag of rocks in my driveway with a little card about this gym, this fitness center. And imagine my chagrin when I got there and I found Coach Matthew there. And I've been listening and watching this guy for some months now. And one thing I can tell you is that he submerges himself from head to toe in everything that he believes before he sends it out to the world. And I'm so glad to have him here today. He's a first timer. So that means we're going to do what we always do here on Bathrobe Moments. And that is okay. Cut it out, Xfinity. I rebuke you. Get to behind me, Comcast. Matthew CAIRY is on his way in. You guys get to your feet as we welcome our guest for today, Coach Matthew. Welcome.
Oh, thanks for having me.
There they are, those young girls out front. Get out of here. Seriously. How many are out there? Get rid of those young girls. Oh, my Lord. Does that happen every place you go?
Everywhere.
I
I don't go anywhere, though, so I'm always at the gym.
Well, they followed you here. Welcome, Coach Matthew. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you. How are you doing today?
Is it true? I'm going to get out there right now, and then I'm going to get out of here and let you say hello to the people and create your own vibe. But before I dip out for a second, is it true you were in the Guinness Book of World Records for being the first 23-pound baby born?
Actually, I was a preemie, Warren.
I know. That's why I said, you told me you used to be really, right?
Yeah, I was born over a month early. So I was a tiny one when I was born.
Couldn't wait to get here, could you?
Right, yeah.
Well, I eat on the show.
I forgot my breakfast, so I'll get it afterwards.
Okay. No, I don't even want to know.
I'll just be jealous.
6 chickens, 3 blenders full of green something. And we're going to get into your diet for a guy your
Okay.
size before we get out of here today. But let me dip out. Really, just take a moment, say hello to the viewers, and just kind of give them something to go on as we get started. I'll come back in a minute or so, and we'll officially get started. Is that okay?
Sounds good.
Okay, all you take it away.
So yeah, my name is Coach Matthew. I am the director for Signature Fitness Clubs and the head coach for Full Tilt Coaching. And what's funny is I'm not the fitness guy. I only started this journey about 8 years ago. And before that, I was the typical person that didn't really know how to work out. I didn't know nutrition. And I think the transformation journey that me and my wife went through had led us to the gym. And that's where our journey began. And I think the fun part is a lot of things that I'll go through or teach is going to be things I've personally went through. And honestly, like it's things that I had to go and seek to understand and figure out myself, because I don't like to regurgitate things that are heard without the true perspective of what it means to deliver on application. So that's really where I began, and it's been a pretty crazy journey. So yeah,
Crazy wonderful though.
yes,
Yeah. Okay, here's where I want to start. A lot of people base things on, what is that? How does that saying go? Sight unseen or face value. That,
Right.
for instance, people look at a guy like you and assume a lot of things. I found when I've talked to guys that are your size and stuff, that how I said, you ever like some asshole, like if you went out to a club or something, they always, you think people assume you're like some, you know what I mean? So when
Yeah.
it comes to mind body connection, how much of how your fitness looks to the world has to do with, talk about how much of it has to do with the gym and how much has to do with mindset. A lot of people think you just live in the gym, you only eat boiled chicken, you take steroids, whatever it is. How wrong do they have it? And what is your main go-to that allows you to be as successful and so congruent? It's you practice what you preach. A lot of us are on and off with this shit. So
Right.
start there about the mind, for you personally.
I think one of the biggest things that I've learned over the last few years has been understanding the emotional side of what fitness means to you. So I do submerge myself in the gym, and obviously I've taken it to the extreme of making it my career. So the time I spend in the thing is way above the normal person, but the actual activity that I exert on my own self is probably normal, right? I work out 4 or 5 times a week. I eat the same meals that everybody else eats when it comes to like breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The biggest difference between the success that I've had and what I say most people that maybe struggle to go through it is they never figure out their reason why, or what I would call their North Star, right? And that's the thing that really resonates mentally for me, is going to go, have you taken the time to figure out why this goal that you put out there is something that's real to you? And is it not just a goal that's real, but also is it emotional? I was I'm a skinny guy at heart, right? I'm a scrawny little.
I've seen pictures of the scrawny you.
And I have, there's a little bit of a mental complex when it comes to I want to be the big guy at the gym, because I've always been the skinny, timid person before. So as I look at the reasons on why I do it, really, if you think about it, most of the time it goes back to 3 things, right? I want to look better, feel better, move better. But really, if you get down to the confidence as a human being, that's what we all really seek and desire. And it's so much more than just a couple of workouts. I tell people that the physical activity is the spark that gets us going and allows it to translate into the rest of our life, right? The relationships, the way we eat, the way that we go do activities with other people, that little time at the gym, whether it's 60 minutes, for me, it's probably 90 minutes, but I move a little bit slower than the average person. Some people get great results off 30 minutes, but it's that time in the gym, and then translating into the time that we spend preparing and think about food. It is a huge spark that lets us start to seek out mental stability and purpose. So
And so true. I'm gonna tell you something. I peeked in on, I think it was a webinar or something you and Carrie, your wife, were doing a few weeks back. And remember, it was like you took turns.
Yeah.
One day it was her, the next, yeah. And one of the things that really resonated with me from that experience with you guys was how when it came to the food, you're like, eat what you want to eat. Just know what you have to do. You know what I'm trying to explain her. And I'll be honest with you, that's where I'm at. I eat what I want to eat, but I also know, okay, what I have to do if I go too far with that shit, you know, or if I don't balance it out each and every time, because that's what happens. I said, well, I don't gotta track it or this or that. I got it. And then next thing you know, it's like all over the place. I'm listening to 5 radio stations at the same time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so let's start with how we make that why, that first why, because that lays the foundation for all the other components in order to, it's because it's like OJT, on the job training. And so you have to be real and honest. Talk about how do people find their way to the why that will stick.
Where I usually start with people is just openly admitting that you're not going to be able to do it alone. You have to talk to somebody. You have to talk to somebody who can help you bounce, use a soundboard, right? Like go through the process of therapy. We are social creatures as human beings, so we need to talk to people. But really, it usually comes back to asking yourself what are the most important things for you in your life, your values, right? And so we have typically going to be relationships, some kind of like financial security or success, or internal health. And I want to move good, like these things of developing confidence. And if we can find out, like if we can, so they're all important. This is the fun part is usually people are like, well, I want it all. But if you can prioritize and say things like, and this would be my own personal example, I want to look better, to feel more confident out in public because I always felt like inadequate with the way I looked. So that became like my own personal one. So if I want to look better, then I have to ask myself, well, why do I want to look better? What is the most important thing to me? And without dragging the story out too far, it comes down to the fact my confidence in my relationship with my significant other is the most important thing to me. And when I lack confidence in the relationship because of the way I look or the way I feel about myself, I put that back into my control and go, hey, I can go work on this thing that is me so that the relationship is stronger. And if anybody ever sees me in the gym working out, I'll tell you straight up, that is my North Star is my wife. So, but it takes time to talk about those things that are your values and what's important to you. A lot of times we have very surface level goals. Like I want to lose 10 pounds. You need to extrapolate that through. What does it mean when you lose the 10 pounds? What does that mean for your life? What category are we fitting in this to? Life, love, relationships, like, is it financial and career? Like, where does it fit to change this thing?
And who are you changing for or wanting to?
Right.
Because a lot of people do it because they're in a competitive arena where, you know, I mean, we're watching that show Suits, right? You ever seen that?
I haven't. No,
Okay,
I heard great
all
things
attorneys, right? And every woman they show has on one of those body dresses with the zipper all the way down the back. You know, they're very form-fitting pencil skirts. And they talk about overweight people that you never actually see, like Norma, who just died, is in an urn, but we never saw the real her. And we were talking about that. Why will they only infer to someone in the office who's overweight, who doesn't look like what they're showing us on the screen? All of these outside grooming techniques, what we watch, and this and the other. So talk about that what we feed ourselves as far as what we feel is an appropriate way to look really quickly, so that I want people to understand it's okay to love who you are. Even if it's not who you eventually want to stay as, but you must love who you are even at the beginning of something, wouldn't you think?
I think like self-appreciation and self-love is one of those most difficult things that we can do, but it is the single core of where it starts. Because if you do not, it's like the difference between understanding like loving the journey versus the destination, right? If you can't love where you're at, then you won't love where you'll get to. But there's this fallacy of this idea, like the grass is greener over there. I want to get there. I want to get that thing. But we have to realize that it is within the moment that you can choose to be happy, right? And I think it's two sides of it. It's the first part is like you have to actually like love yourself, but how to do that is so difficult because you have this other side, which as human beings and being social creatures are the level of success that we view is only amongst our social circle, right? So I do things to elevate myself within the social circle of where I choose to be or the people that I believe that are the most important to me, no matter what that is. So there's going to be this part of like you're trying to improve that inherent status and like be successful amongst your peers, so to speak. But you have to pull yourself out of it and realize that that is an environment. It's a temporary environment sometimes. Like you might change your social circle 5 years from now. The one constant true thing is you. And I told this to my friend a couple nights ago. About 10 years ago, I went through an experience that really, it was the first time in my life I realized who I was. Like I didn't feel lost anymore. I wasn't putting on a mask. And when I went through that experience, it was very uncomfortable because I was doing things I wouldn't normally do, but I was being me. And there's something powerful about when you anchor yourself in who you are, your social circle will become who you are and the people that are attracted to you, and you not seeking out this in a weird way like a fake relationship, because you're always going into somebody else's social circle and trying to like fit in. When you can find a place of self-love, you give yourself the capability of creating your social circle, and then the people in that circle will be like-minded, similar values, and ultimately just extremely supportive because you believe in the same things.
Here's a question for you. Absolutely right on that one. Ring the bell, y'all. Now lean in on this one, everybody, because this is a good one. See if it applies to you. Personal training. Until I started personal training, I could never figure out why I would see a guy or a gal who looked to be in great shape with a trainer. I was like, why in the world you look better than the trainer? Why are you there with the trainer? I never could understand that until I actually began working with the trainer. Talk about what it's like from your side of the table. What do you see in a person? Let's say, what are the top two assets, personality assets that you find in people who are successful that you work with, no matter what kind of shape they're in when they find their way to you? Because you work with them across the spectrum, right? Have you ever trained somebody who was actually in better shape than you?
Yes. Yeah,
okay. See, sure. People wouldn't expect that. So talk about why such a broad paint strip of people, and what is that one or two common things that they have in common that make them successful?
The most important thing I think that makes them successful is humility, right? They have the ability to understand that there's always a place to grow and always a place to move on to, no matter how good they are. And it's that strong desire to continue to improve. So we look at like what life is, and either you're growing or you're decaying, right? A lot of people will say, well, there's maintenance. Well, you can only maintain so long before naturally it's just decaying because the world's moving on. Their internal need to continue to grow and improve themselves is probably that single biggest thing. And the only way to get through to that is to have humility, right? And then the other one is, the second one would be, they don't rely on motivation. They rely on just routines and discipline, and they expect there's going to be moments when they're not motivated. They expect, it's almost like they look forward to the downtime. They look forward to the challenge. They look forward to the moment where they'll be like, this sucks, right? They're almost seeking out the suck, if that makes sense. And like you're looking forward to the time where it becomes hard, because you know that that's going to be the time you learn the most. And they have this internal desire to grow. They're humble enough to know that there's room to grow and I need to get outside help. And they have this desire to just go through the crap to learn, right? Because it really is in the struggles that we learn the most. And my favorite quote probably of all time will always be, honor the struggle, because it is that process that we go through that's difficult, where we learn how to get through it. We learn how to grow.
Yeah.
So yeah, those would be the two things. I think it's internal. Yeah.
There's so much. And so before we get around that corner, hit this one, because, you know, and we're coming to cut that commercial too in the next week or so, because we're ready now. But listen, accountability versus discipline. Because I know for me, it's a litmus test for my discipline when I implement some form of accountability into, for instance, you know, I haven't been with the trainer because, you know, mine went on to greener pastures, this and that. I thought, I got this. That shit been dipping off. It's like every time I look at the picture, it's like, who been drinking all the Kool-Aid? Or it's getting, the color's getting lighter, because I'm, instead of to act like I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid, I'm filling it back up with water. So what was punch colored is now like pink lemonade. I'm like, this ain't even the same content. I said all that to say this. I need to get my ass back and use up, you know, I got sessions on the books. I need to get back with that trainer, because it's an accountability piece that I'm not as strong as I think I am at keeping in place. So talk about what's the difference. What's the biggest misconception that accountability and discipline are one and the same? Because they are not.
Right. Discipline is going to be yourself. Discipline is going to be, you in a box, you can decide to do things, and your level of discipline will only be dictated by the neural pathways in your brain that are strong enough to hold and sustain. If they're being influenced by other behaviors or routines that have been built up, like you're more likely to deviate to the one that's more embedded into your lifestyle. Like if you brush your teeth with your right hand for your entire life, and then you try to create a disciplined habit of doing it left-handed, like you could do it by yourself, but it's going to be a struggle, and you're always going to have a natural deviation back to the original. External is outside, and you can't hold yourself accountable. It is virtually impossible. So, and it doesn't have to be like, you don't have to get a coach. You don't have to pay, people to hold you accountable. What you can do is use accountability mechanisms like having a workout buddy, having like all those different things you could do, but you need external influence to change those behaviors and to keep those accountable to those new disciplines, right? So you're using accountability to create disciplines. And the more you go through the disciplines, the deeper that neural pathway becomes. The original behaviors and routines will never actually leave, but what you're trying to do is create a new road that's smooth enough and good enough where it's easier to stay on the path. But at first, when you're starting a new behavior or routine, that neural pathway is not even what you would consider a habit or routine yet. It's just literally like a new task that you're doing, and you have to get through the point of putting it into a disciplinary routine, and that takes the external influence, whether it's a workout buddy, or even just somebody going in and watching a fitness YouTube video on a daily basis, continually exposing themselves to this healthy lifestyle, the thing that they want. It'll help reinforce from an external point of view this new discipline they're trying to create.
Right. Even like, and you're so right, because I remember when I first started transforming my body, how at first from the gate, I could not, if I was going to do 12 reps of something and I was struggling at 10 and I did 11 and a half and stop and count it, mark it off on my little sheet. So I was like, oh, I can't do it. I would go back. I would write down exactly what it was, because I didn't want to celebrate false victories. Right. I did not want to groom myself, because it would be less and less and less and less. So I'm saying that to go into this perception. How important, because I still now, I'll see myself in a picture like Friday night at an event or Thursday night at an event, and I'll go like, I look different when I put it on, but when I see the picture, is that my stomach? So is that really the way I look to the world, or is that me looking at myself through a not so confident lens? And I want to go and use that to get into this. When we're in the gym or in the streets, and we see somebody with what I refer to as, they dress according to their vanity muscles. So, for instance, if they have big arms, they got their sleeves all rolled up, but they got on a tight Under Armour or something to show their shoulders, but not realizing, well, I also see you 8 months pregnant. You see what I'm saying? Right. Or I see your big old chest and look at them skinny chicken legs. It's
Right.
like, and because they don't see the whole thing. They only see that part where they're trying to direct all the neon signs to look at this, open, eat at Sam's. You know what I mean? Like a neon sign. So tell us about how we should use our mind correctly in our physical transformation or journey, which is the same.
I mean, the first thing I would do with the physical side of things is I would find the right measuring stick, right? And I wouldn't use the scale, and I definitely even wouldn't use the body fat percentage indicator as like the primary methods of the result, right?
Yes. Good news, you guys.
You think about it, if you lost 10 pounds overnight, but you looked and felt the same the next day, you wouldn't be happy with the result. The result goes back to the North Star. Like, I want to look better, right? And I think that's the important part, is it has to, you're applying a goal based on the idea of improvement.
Oh, wait a minute. What comes first, the chicken or the egg? Should we say I want to look better, or should we say I want to feel better? Which will show up first?
It's a tough question. I would say that the way that we feel about ourselves is from a projection of like how our image, right? So I could say to people, like, this is the part where I get is as a coach, right? This is probably too much information sometimes, but as a coach, I have to get people to do the work so they can see themselves look differently. And along the way, we'll ask questions like, how do you feel? How's your energy? How's your digestion? When you wake up in the morning, do you feel like you have to nap in the middle of the day? And they haven't seen the results in the mirror yet, but a week in or 2 weeks in, when they're going, oh my God, I feel great. I wake up alive. Like, I don't have to nap all the time. Like these things, it is a feel better thing as the initial part, but our brain has a really hard time going, well, I just want to feel better. No, we want to look better. Right. And if I can get somebody in a few weeks to the first moment where they can look at me and go, oh my gosh, I look better. Right. Wherever it's at.
Form of results.
Yeah. It's tangible. Right. But going back to the scale thing, like, we have to find the right measuring stick, which we need progress photos, and then we need those biometric markers. So every week we need to answer those questions. How is my digestion? How is my energy? How is my mental mood? Am I more calm? Like, everything that goes into what it means to feel better. And we keep track of things appropriately so that we can actually pay attention. And then it is about understanding the importance of improvement, right? It's micro wins. It's stacking those things. It's not like I'm going after the whole, it's how to eat an elephant, one bite at a fucking time, right?
Right.
Like,
right. Absolutely.
Like, you can't sit there and obsess with the big picture goal. You have to break it down and get through it. Going back to your original question, like, the perception, we cannot compare ourselves to other people on where they're at in their journey compared to our journey. This is probably the biggest thing that holds people back, is they'll always go, well, that person has that. I want that. And they'll get so obsessed with where that person's at. It's like me. I'm a 300
He
pound
doesn't even do anything. And look at what she get. I do everything. Forget it. I might as well just quit.
Right. If you were to look at me like for face value, you would be like, oh man, this dude's got it easy. But really, like, you don't know where I'm at in my journey, and you don't know where anybody else is at in their journey. You have to take your journey and go, this is where I'm at, and I'm going to show improvement a little bit every single day, every single week. And I'm just going to compile those wins and make sure that I'm using the right measuring sticks.
Perfect. When we return from a brief yet important break, when we come back, we're going to talk to Coach Matthew about something. By the way, Coach Matthew has written an article that we're going to split over 2 issues of Trajectory Magazine. I'll let you know more about that at the conclusion of today's broadcast. But on stretching the muscle known as the mind. So when we return, I'd like to get into what you have to say about stretching our mental capacity through dynamic behavior modification. And he's got some real tips for real people who are seeking real results. That and more. It's a great time to share out the broadcast. Don't you dare go away. We'll be right back. Hello. I have a question for you. Have you ever felt completely lost? seeking purposeful direction that could and should propel your mission within your divine journey to that next level, but still it hasn't happened. Well, my name is Lauren Michaels Harris, and I'm the founder of P3, the Journey Series. People come to me because they're wounded. Many are scared, and even there are those who are bruised simply because they feel that they are increasingly, for whatever reason, losing their ability to dream. Now, this P3 program is not for a person who's just looking to start a business, no, but rather for those of you out there who have been on your journey and you've been navigating within your divine purpose, but you still desire to elevate to that level that you have not reached yet. If this is appealing, if this describes you, then I want to have a chat with you. I want to hear your story. So use the link below to get registered for your free seat at P3, the Journey Series. And let's get started, one story at a time. I'll see you inside. Click the link. Welcome back to today's installment of Bathrobe Moments. I'm your host, Dr. Lauren Michaels Harris. Before we get our guest back in, Coach Matthew CAIRY. Real quick, you saw there's a Power Week Symposium. We want to say thank you again to the Los Angeles Tribune Magazine. We're in there. We've been live online, and I can provide you the link. It's in the show notes, so you can watch the virtual. You could read the virtual, article about our tour to Romania, but the print copies are on newsstands everywhere right now. I've ordered a shitload of them. You better believe it. So, guess what everybody's getting for Christmas? You are Coach Matthew. Get back in here. Welcome back, Matt. Welcome back. I wanted to just lay it out so you can kind of take us the rest of the way during this interview. In your work, I found that one of your priorities to talk about is elevating our well-being. And well-being is all encompassing. It's not just the green beans on the plate, but it's the meat, the gravy, the dessert, all of it. And so I'd like you to talk about that and take us into these points that I found in your work, the self-awareness into internal desire, so on and so forth.
So I think we go back to the holistic comment, right? So I tell people a lot of times that I'm not really in the business of making people healthy. And it's a weird statement, but it really comes down to creating joy. And joy comes from physical health, mental health, having spiritual purpose, and ultimately like some level of financial freedom or resource, freedom. And it starts with really understanding how do we make changes in our life. And if you go through, and I've been through a lot of different versions of change management systems and behavior change systems and things like that. But the fun part is when you get into knowing how to make a change, the first thing is you have to break it down into the components of what is discipline, what is habits, what is routine, and how you make that an applicable pattern that you can go through. So the things that you had mapped out is the 6 stages that I take people through are going to be self-awareness, internal desire, knowledge, implementation, reinforcement, and temperance. And those components give us an outline or a pattern to go through. And you'll notice that the first 3 are the conceptualization of the idea, right? And the last 3 are going to be the actual putting it into action. And I think we misinterpret sometimes. And I made this comment to somebody a couple weeks ago, is like, I think we spend too much time talking about the idea and thinking about things, and we don't do enough action. So this framework is really designed to help people take that conceptualized idea, the thing they want to have happen, and cross that boundary into action and implementation. So as we can go through like creating self-awareness, the first thing is you have to understand the goal. And I think you challenged me on this. Like, it's not as easy to just know that a goal needs to take place. Sometimes an external influence, like having a health scare, or something in your lifestyle will change where you're like, oh my gosh, I need to make this change, right? So it's the first step of like, what is the emotional thing that triggered like this thing to happen, and do we take the time to identify it, right? It usually always exists. We just have to take time to go find it and really make it real for us, so that we can go, okay, now I can use this thing to create internal desire. And a desire is driven around emotional attachment. So it becomes less logical and more like, what does this mean to me?
Yeah.
How do I feel about it? And if I don't make this change, what does that mean? Right? One of the most powerful motivators is risk mitigation. And when we avoid pain, right? If we can go spend time talking about those pains that we're trying to avoid, make them real and make them avoidable, we'll do actions to actually get around it and go, okay, if I don't do this thing, this is the outcome. Am I willing to deal with that? Yes, no. If the answer is yes, then you're probably not going to make the shift, right? So we have to make it emotional and bring that pain to life so we can navigate it. The knowledge component is always interesting for me because I think me, as just like anybody else, I always felt like knowledge was like I needed more information to make decisions so I could do it. I treated it more like
so you can fully understand it, so
Right.
that so it makes sense while you're doing it. You have to understand, or you go through the motions,
and that's
thinking it until you make it, kind of thing.
Yeah, and that's it. That is where you identify knowledge as a belief system reinforcement, not just the skills, right? You're actually creating belief internally. The more you understand it, now the more likely you are to take that next big jump. And it's a big jump, right? From idea to action, the implementation is a big jump. And implementation is the hardest one because it's the very first, very uncomfortable moment where you're taking time and energy and resources and you're doing something. It hasn't yet become a neural pathway that's a habit or routine. So it's this task you have to push yourself into, get uncomfortable. And this is where you can break down things into the most basic forms. Like you see me wear my t-shirt. Sometimes it says like, just show up. Like some people's first implementation, I just need you to show up to the gym, take a selfie and leave. You didn't do a workout? Fine. I just need you to prove that you can make the trip, because that is the first. And then while you're there, you'll probably do a couple of exercises and leave. But if I can in the first week get you to show up to the gym 4 times a week, we're off to something. It's not a measurement of duration and intensity. It's a measure of, did I pick a checkbox that was reasonable and it was still took effort, but now I can go achieve that thing. And that implementation then goes into the reinforcement, which is
it's a small victory. It's a private victory. It is. You've seen me run in there and it looks like 20 minutes later, I'm running out. But I don't care how long I'm there. I am not going to leave. I do it so that when I leave, even if I see one moisture speck of perspiration, I know I must have done something. And I believe that a little bit of something will always be better at the end of the day at how I look at my day and myself than a whole lot of nothing.
Exactly.
Because I don't want to, I'm either going to rejoice or regret every decision at the end of the day. I choose to rejoice. Well, at least I was there for 20 minutes. That's 20 more than 0.
And that's the important part, is identifying the ability to celebrate the wins, no matter how big or small.
Right.
You can't be like, oh, I only made it 20 minutes, so I can't do this again. Right. It is. It's like, it's the difference between 0 and something.
Exactly. Now let's go in that list. You said self-awareness, internal desire, knowledge, implementation, reinforcement. We're coming back to that one next, but let's go to the word temperance. It's like an old word from olden days. A lot of people think, I heard that on Little House on the Prairie, temperance. Marches were around it. But what does temperance really mean? It is the quality of moderation or self-restraint or abstinence. Talk about how you use it, because in your list of all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 words, temperance runs in the anchor spot. It is the anchor. It's the very last one of all. So how important is temperance to the whole kit and caboodle?
So, in going back to the idea that we're continually looking to self-improve, if we don't grow, we are decaying, right? And knowing it goes back to that conversation with humility, right? No matter how far you get in this journey, you have to have the ability to go, I still have places to go and things to do. No matter what it is, there's always a place to get better. There's always a place for improvement. And as you develop this reinforced behavior that becomes part of your lifestyle, it will be a continuous process to continue to improve that piece and to optimize it or make it more efficient or make it more purposeful, whatever that level means for somebody. Also, the like tempering a sword, right? You took the thing to a master and had them teach you how to make it better, right? It wasn't always just be like, oh, I got it, I'm good. Like no matter what the level,
take it from here.
Yeah, no matter what the level, like, and I have a coach, CAIRY has a coach, like coaches have coaches.
That's right.
If you really want to discover self-actualization as a human being, you have to continue to go and improve. And I will always kind of sit by this. The quality of humility is, I think, a little bit lost in today's world. A little like people just have a hard time being humble, but it is the most powerful thing because it puts you in a position of vulnerability that you chose to be in. And now you can ask for help, and you can look at something from the outside. You look at your own behaviors and go, you know what, maybe I should work on that. And you don't have to be so like you don't feel like you're picking on yourself. Like you're not having that like shameful moment. You're like, no, I just looked around and I think, yeah, I could use some work over here. So I'm going to do that.
Absolutely. So let me pop this up. Tell us what you're giving away. I'm going to drop it in the comment section right now. You guys don't click on it right now, but it'll be there for you to click on at the conclusion of the broadcast with the redirect link, a hyperlink in there. But tell us, what is this? I say 6-month scholarship. Is it free?
It is free. Yeah. So I want everybody can register for the 6-month scholarship next Monday. I'll do a master class, right? So we'll go through another master class and we'll announce a winner.
Like the one I saw.
Yeah. So everybody that registers will get the recordings and stuff for the master class. So my big thing is always making sure that people have at least the baseline information for a body transformation without having to pay for everything.
There you go.
And then we're going to pick one person out of that registration group to actually go through 6 months of coaching with me and CAIRY to actually get that result that they've always dreamed of. And then anybody else along the way will provide resources and at least some baseline understanding of how to go about this thing that everybody, sees before and afters online. It's like, just let's get the real information out there. I think there's a lot of, I say this about social media,
right?
It's not misinformation, it's miscontexted. So the idea that I want to, like, the information I want to give you at least puts things into context is like, how much should I eat? What workout should I do? Like, get some baseline stuff that we know is going to create a result, because the blueprint isn't a secret. It exists. It's just mixed up with a lot of other things that are in the world right now.
And it can be quite confusing, overwhelming.
Yes. Decision paralysis.
Yeah. And I'm going to really encourage you guys to head over to Matthew's masterclass. That's coming up. You said next week?
Next Monday.
Yeah. Next Monday. It moves really fast, but it's easy to follow. I was able to, because it fell on my time in the health club many nights. So he was like maybe in another room at the same place, but I'm watching it because I can see the captions on the screen and followed along while I was doing it. So let's just put it this way. Again, if you show up, you have a better chance of leaving with something. It only takes one syllable of one word strategically placed at the right time, the divine time, to possibly change your life forever. I know it's happened to me many times. So what about coachmatthew.fitness? What at Instagram, or what's there? Tips, workout tips, nutrition things. Do we kind of get to see some food prep? What do we see there?
You can see a little bit about like the things that I eat. I'll post my meals or maybe my cheat meals, some workouts that I do. I try to give tips on the movements that I encourage people to do. I'll be honest, I'm not super good at Instagram, so you can jump on there, look at some of the stuff that I've done. But most importantly, just use it as a connection tool. Like if you want to DM me with any questions, if you want me to make a video specific on something that you want to know, send me that question. I'll make a video. I'll send it to you, and I can send it to thousands of other people too. So help me help you, so to speak. But communication is going to be key.
One of the things I really appreciated when I first started hanging out with you was that because I was going to 2 health clubs at the same time back then. Now I just go to this one. Wonder how they pull that off. But anyway, you would say, hey, film yourself doing that exercise and send it to me. And it was because I now it remembered me to the fact that the great thing is because of perspective, objectivity. Straighten your spine out. You do this a little bit more. Your stance is a little bit too wide, or whatever the case may be. Because if you're going to make the effort and get to this and show up like Matthew's t-shirt he mentioned earlier, and you only get to do 1 rep of something, don't you want to do it to the best of your ability so that you can reap the harvest of doing it properly and not risk hurting yourself by, you know what I'm saying? So talk about is it possible for you to work with somebody who lives in California?
Yeah, we have clients all over the world now, actually. So I used to do everything through text, but that just got a little bit messy as people just kept jumping aboard. So now we use an application, and in the app we can do check-ins and we can upload nutrition plans and workout plans. And then we could also let the client will upload pictures. I encourage people to do at least 1 video per workout. 1, it holds them accountable, right? So I know when they worked out. And then 2, I know that they're not going to 50% effort a video they have to send to somebody. That's the other thing. So if you don't have a workout partner, it's a great way to get like some extra motivation to do that workout set to the fullest. The most impactful part that has happened with me and my coaches and the way that I work with clients on the videos, the feedback is incredibly valuable because it teaches you the discipline of movement patterns, and it pulls our ego out of the lifting and lets us actually focus on recruiting the right muscles, good posture, good overall just recruitment of the right muscles to generate power. And we do it a safe and effective way. So we're getting the benefits of the muscle growth, the metabolic increases, we're creating safety. And it's like you said, if we're going to be putting in the work, we want to do it the best. So the fastest way to get feedback is like just upload a video of you moving and have somebody critique it and give you a couple tips. And sometimes it could be as quick as a text message, and other times I'll be, doing a full demonstration and sending it back. But
how it should be.
Yeah,
absolutely. And that's invaluable. It really is. And one more time before we get out of here about the progress photos, how important it is, because a lot of us don't want any kind of photo, let alone the ones that show, are those love handles moving? If so, in the right direction, so just one more time, reiterate the importance of the progress photos. And how does a person take them? Facing the mirror? Does someone else take them? What do you suggest?
First thing with the progress photo is make sure they're consistent. Make sure it's in the same place with the same lighting, the same camera, the same tripod. I actually have an X on the floor and a tripod here in the living room, and we take our progress photos every Sunday. If you want to find a space in the bathroom, just make sure that they're from the front. Make sure it's from neutral lighting. You're not trying to do a selfie image. And like, let's say you go traveling and you don't have that spot. Like, don't take progress photos in the hotel with a different set of lighting and camera, because you're going to be comparing those to pictures that have been consistent. The other thing is, go back to like the people that don't want to. This is actually, so I had a client last year that refused to take pictures, and I had to explain that like we need progress. So I told this client, go ahead and just take pictures of the floor. Okay. And then when you're ready, I want you to take pictures of yourself wrapped up in like a winter jacket. Okay. That's progress, right? Being able to take a picture of nothing and then eventually taking a picture of yourself, and then from going from the jacket to a t-shirt, and then from a t-shirt to a sports bra, like those processes, just the comfort with being able to take a picture is progress in itself.
Yeah.
So if we can reinforce that, and then once we get to the point where we can actually see our body, it is incredible the small changes that you can identify that will help you psychologically latch on to go, this work, which is not always easy, right? The work is there. I need to show the result, because otherwise it'd be like sitting at a slot machine, spinning the handle, and you never get to see a win. You have to look for every little win you can, especially in the first like 3 months of the process. After you get your routine built up and you start to see more and more results, you become more psychologically addicted to the work and the process. But especially at the beginning, you have to have that ability to see that small
victory.
change. And usually, like for fat loss clients, it's going to be like under the chin, under the arms, inside the thighs. Like you see those little changes, like, oh my gosh, it looks like
It's
I lost
working.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's why I always encourage, and I've always been one who I'll get on the scale when I'm starting, you know, maybe once a week or every 2 weeks or whatever. But one of the things that always worked for me was putting on something at the beginning that was like, oh my God, I can't even button these jeans. I can't even button this shirt, the stretching the buttonholes, and try it on every week at the end, like on Sundays, like when you take those, I tried on, and before you know it, it's like, oh my God, I can actually move in it. I don't have to lay flat on the floor and use pliers to zip this bitch up, you know? So there it is. Wow. Listen, Coach Matthew, I just want to thank you. This was a great hour. It flew by. A lot of great content. You guys don't forget, Coach Matthew has a masterclass starting next week, next Monday. You can find it by going to
Lifestyle.fulltiltus 6
you
months.
see it scrolling at the bottom is also in the feed right now for easy access. No excuses. We've wiped them all off the table. Now all you have to do is click and go. You won't regret it. Matthew, thank you so much. I'll probably see you later this afternoon at the gym. And I will see you all, God willing, tomorrow morning right out there on the front porch. We're together. We'll do it again. We will have another illuminated conversation, helping each other and others find our highest selves in this day. Get out of here. Have the best day ever. Happy Monday to you. And in closing, as always, I tell you, I love you. And there ain't a damn thing you can do about it. See you tomorrow. Have a great day. Great job, Matthew. Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye, everybody. Bye-bye, y'all.
Show me your soul. Baby, I'll show you mine. Show me your soul. Honey, it's way past time. How expensive do I have to be? Need I spell it out before you get it, baby? Show me your soul. And honey, I'll show you mine. I'll show you mine. Oh, I'm standing right here holding up a sign.